fact that citizens pointed out to the other responding officers where the perpetrator had gone. This is something all New Yorkers should also be proud of. We're so proud of the men and women of the NYPD and what they do every day. We're so proud of those who are willing to serve us so much they will put themselves in harm's way. We're also proud when our fellow citizens stand up and do the right thing and help the police to do their job. So a lot of very important things happened today, a lot of things that showed how good our police are, how it's the best police force in the world, and also how good our citizens can be coming to the aid of our police and doing their job. And I want to thank the arresting officers, too, who managed to not only arrest the perpetrator, but get the gun off him before the perpetrator could fire another shot. This is an extraordinary story and something, again, that every New Yorker should be proud of, and I have to tell you how proud I am of everybody involved.
If I may, before we open it up for questions, and Chief Banks will speak specifically to questions about the incident itself, I'd like to introduce Pat Lynch, president of the PBA, Patrolmen's Benevolent Association, who also had the opportunity to visit with the officers. Pat.
Thanks, Commissioner Mayor. This shows once again that there's no routine for a New York City police officer. The lot of a police officer is a difficult and complex one, where something that many would seem would be routine, stopping a fare evader, would be just that when it turns into a life and death struggle. And then the police officer's instincts, and never think that a police officer's not afraid. The adrenaline is pumping when these things happen, but nonetheless, they hold their composure, their training kicks in, they save their fellow police officers who are responding and the citizens. I too want to thank those citizens that took the time to stop, bend the knee, and help a police officer who has fallen to the ground. They were doing the job helping them, and we appreciate that you recognize that and helped us in return.
Commissioner, how were you able to identify the suspect so quickly? Did you have any help with that, or how did that go down?
One of the things I'm enjoying coming back in my position as Commissioner of the NYPD is the extraordinary technology that is now available to the department that assists us in so many things that we do. I'd ask Chief Banks to speak specifically to that in terms of that process that did allow us very quickly to identify the suspect who is now in custody.
Officer Chow, who was the partner to P.O. Lee, he transmitted an officer needs assistance. So fellow officers responded in a matter of seconds. When they responded to the location, they were directed by Good Samaritans into this particular building. So we had our condition sergeant who actually entered the building, and he encountered an individual who fit the description that was transmitted by P.O. Chow. But just take note, P.O. Chow responded seconds after the sergeant. So when they encountered this particular individual and a gun was taken off of him, P.O. Chow was seconds away and says, that's the person who not only illegally entered the bus, but that's also the person who fired at me and my partner.
And how did you learn his identity?
Whose identity?
The perp, his name,
He's in custody. The perpetrator is in custody. He's in custody. He was brought back to the precinct, and he was asked his identity, and he furnished that information.
Chief Banks, the Good Samaritans who came to the aid of Officer Lee while he was on the ground, did they have some sort of medical training? And from a practical standpoint, do you think they play a role in how he will be able to recover or how he survived?
I'm not so sure whether or not they have a medical expertise or not, but I think what happens is that they were Good Samaritans. They saw a fellow New Yorker, a police officer who needed assistance, and I think instinctively they came to the assistance and they gave him help. So medically speaking, how much they helped him, I'm not so sure that's even important. The fact is that they responded without thought because they saw someone that needed help, and I think that's the fabric of New York City, and I think that's the dynamic of that story.
But the other Good Samaritans who pointed out the building that the perpetrator went into played a crucial role in helping the police as quickly as possible get to the right site and find the perpetrator.
Chief, what can you tell us about the injuries to the officers, the extent and severity?
The Officer Lee, he has an injury to his upper left and right thigh, and he has an injury to his groin. And at that particular point, he's actually still being looked at and being taken care of by medical personnel. So at that point, this is the only information I have to his extent. But he was spoken with by the mayor, and he was spoken with by the police commissioner, and he appears to be in very good spirits.
Are those 3 gunshot wounds?
At this particular point, we're not so sure what the gunshot wounds are. The doctors at some point will be able to inform us.
Can you say, was he shot multiple times, more than one time?
We believe so, but I can't confirm that at this point.
Was the suspect hospital. Will he need surgery?
I believe he will need surgery.
And what about Chow? Was he injured?
P.O. Chow is not going to need any type of medical surgery. Yes.
Was the suspect wounded in
The suspect was not wounded. No, he was not.
Was Chow wounded at all?
Chow was not wounded by the perpetrator.
Can you spell all of the names when you?
We'll take care of that for you. We'll get the list of names.
The second Faravader, are you still looking for him, or have you caught up with that person?
The chief of detectives, Chief Boyce, is on the scene. He can answer those questions, but we will, in some part of the investigation, look to see whether or not what role he played into this. At this point, we're not really sure whether or not there's a connection between him and our perpetrator, or did we just have two independent individuals who was fear evading at the same time. But the investigation in the future will reveal that, and certainly we will be looking for this individual to see what role he played in that.
How were the officers made aware that these individuals were suspected of fear evaders?
It was two officers that were simultaneously on post and observed at the same time these fear evaders enter the bus.
Were they on the bus? I'm sorry.
The officers were not on the bus, but as the police commissioner noted that part of our impact and our officers, what they have been trained to do and what they've been instructed to do is to monitor the buses primarily for the safety of the passengers and the safety of the bus operators. So that's almost like SOP of what they do and what they were doing today.
Have there been any issues in that particular bus?
Excuse me?
Have there been any issues on that particular bus?
On that, the B46 is a very busy line. So on that particular bus, there may not have been any of that, but it's a very busy, it's an active line. And I believe that was one of the lines that the transit authority reached out to us, told us that they like for us to concentrate on because of the large number of passengers who utilize that bus.
Chief, you recovered the weapon, but do you have any information about where it came from, if it came from out of state?
It's too early to determine that, but Chief Boyce is that's his responsibility, and he's actively looking into that now. But this incident happened a short time ago, but that process is underway.
Mr. Chow, I wanted to clarify something. The officers got the two guys off the bus.
Correct.
And one, Rashawn Robinson, he flees.
Yes, westbound on Empire Boulevard.
And the second one that you took off the bus, is he in custody?
No, he's not in custody. That was the question asked earlier. We're going to be, part of the investigation, we'll be looking to identify this individual and see what role he had in this.
Okay, thank you. And we'll get information about the officers and the suspects who are. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Did roll there, fella.
Yeah, we're gonna, the CBI office will have a script on the